During a forum at the Moody Church in Chicago on the role of the Christian church in today's culture, Moody Church senior pastor, the Reverend Dr. Erwin Lutzer, and writer Erwin Metaxes said that many churches have left the gospel and are unwilling to stand against the culture, a culture that embraces abortion and increasingly same-sex marriage.
I'm not sure that we can turn America around. I think that we have gone so far. I cannot foresee a day, for example, when the emphasis on same-sex marriage is actually reversed. If that seems like a negative statement, I would say that that's a realistic statement.
IllinoisFamily.org News spoke with Dr. Lutzer after the event. He is the author of the Gold Medallion Award-winning book Hitler's Cross, as well as When a Nation Forgets God. In those books, he draws parallels between Nazi Germany and the cultural and spiritual decline in America today.
The fear is that we're heading toward Nazi Germany here in America. Do you see it as getting that bad?
No, I really don't think so. I don't expect a Holocaust where certain groups of people, like Christians, are being rounded up and taken to ovens. I mean, theoretically, that could happen. I see what is happening as the marginalization of the church. What Hitler liked to do is to isolate anyone who had opposition to him and then take care of them. And that's the kind of thing that I see happening today, where you ridicule anybody who has the nerve to stand against these cultural trends, and through ridicule you silence them.
And Dr. Lutzer says no matter where the culture is, the Christian church must exercise what he calls redemptive involvement.
Redemptive means that we approach it with a loving, broken heart, willing to serve people. Involvement means that we are involved in politics, we are involved in our culture, we are involved in the workplace, sharing the gospel and living out our faith. So I think that that's where the church should have been. I don't think we've done that very well in the past. We have politicized the gospel, or we have remained silent, and I maintain that there is a third way that is very important. That is, again, the redemptive involvement, where we mobilize the church to say, now that we've heard the gospel and responded to the free offer of eternal life, what is our obligation to the wider culture? It goes back to Niemöller and Hitler, when Hitler said, you take care of the church, I'll take care of the German people. And Niemöller is saying, we have a responsibility to the German people that will not be taken away from us. And what that responsibility is may look differently for every Christian, differently for every church, but that's the point at which we should be involved.
But author Erwin Metaxes tells IllinoisFamily.org News many Christian pastors refuse to speak out on social issues or politics out of fear of the IRS or riling church members who tithe. His New York Times bestseller Bonhoeffer chronicles Dietrich Bonhoeffer. The Nazi-era Lutheran minister's opposition to Hitler cost him his life.
I think if anybody is worried about the IRS or worried about losing money in the pew, they're not keeping their eyes on Jesus. You have to trust that if he commands us to do something, we're not supposed to worry about the results. We're supposed to leave the results in his hand. And if a pastor is worried, I mean, it's one thing to worry about saying it in the right way, saying it at the right time. Yes, we've got to be careful and winsome and loving, but the idea that people are not preaching something because they're worried about 501c3 status, that is God's judgment falls on that pastor, because he's not doing what God has commanded him to do. And I think that if the pastors in the U.S. would stop worrying about that and would all, push up against that 501c3 status, it would change the climate for everybody. And so one voice of timidity encourages more timidity, and one voice of boldness and courage encourages other voices of boldness and courage. So I want to encourage every pastor to trust God with the details.
What about the members of those congregations? What should they be doing?
Well, the first thing I always say is people should sign the Manhattan Declaration. Go to manhattandeclaration.org and sign it. There's a real primer you can get on the issues of religious liberty there. I would say that's the number one thing, if I can leave people with one thing. And to rejoice in the Lord, even in the midst of cultural difficulties, to rejoice that God really is in control. He just asks us to do our part.
Mr. Metaxes also told IFI Christians should be informed voters and consider running for political office.
Yeah, not just politics, but everything. Christians should be involved in everything. They should be involved in media. They should be involved in entertainment. Wherever God calls us to be salt and light. That doesn't mean everybody has to get involved in politics, but it does mean everybody has to be a concerned citizen and an engaged and informed citizen.
As host of the forum with Mr. Metaxes, Dr. Lutzer encouraged attendees to pick up copies of the Illinois Family Institute Voter Guide. The Moody Church pastor also revealed that he's writing a book about the growing influence of Islam in America. For IllinoisFamily.org News, I'm Monty Larrick.
This has been brought to you by the Illinois Family Institute, promoting marriage, family, life, and liberty in the land of Lincoln. For more information, go to IllinoisFamily.org.